Hi everyone, it's day 2 of the 30-day challenge, and what I am going to try and do over the next 30 days is some of the questions that come up from my Zoom consultations with my clients who are on the programme, to share with you on social media platforms to give you some tips and tricks on how to make some positive health and nutrition changes this January that will help you with the year ahead. So today's question kind of revolves all around kind of taste buds and cravings, and why do we crave kind of sugar, salt, refined foods, and how these taste buds kind of change as you're doing a nutrition program. So for any of us, most of us have about 10,000 taste buds, and of course, like everything else, as we get older and older, these taste buds kind of diminish, which is why for some people, so for elderly people, things will taste, they will need a lot more flavour into their foods than a much younger person. So it's just an interesting fact about taste buds. What happens with taste buds is that you can train them in different ways. You can train them for good and you can train them for bad. And what happens is, sometimes post-Christmas when I'm working with people, is that we've gotten, our taste buds become almost heightened. They become very sensitised. So by eating a lot of sugar, eating a lot of salt-based foods, a lot of refined carbohydrates, what happens is you can no longer can sustain that taste that you want more. So you crave more sugar, you crave more carbohydrates, you crave more salt, and continuing on that cycle, it feeds itself. So you get into this vicious cycle of you're not satisfied then with that amount of sugar, you have to get more and more, and constantly the craving is for more. Good thing is that you can break the cycle with some simple steps. And as a qualified health and nutrition coach, my job, I suppose, is to introduce kind of a variety of foods and introduce whole natural foods as much as possible in their natural state. And by doing this in any program, you will find that by filtering out the refined carbohydrates, the sodium, the chemical sugars, is that gradually your taste buds should become less heightened, and that you become more satisfied with the taste of natural and whole foods. Again, it doesn't happen overnight, but it comes as part of continuing to commit to a new kind of diet plan and a new routine in terms of your nutrition and wellness as well. So a couple of tips to help retrain your taste buds, which a lot of you who are on my program are already doing, is making things from scratch. So it's out with the jars, out with the packets, and trying to make everything from scratch using as much natural kind of flavors, herbs, spices to taste your food, make your foods taste good, I should say. The second thing is breakfast. Breakfast is so important. A lot of the issues around cravings, especially at nighttime, comes from either having a really poor breakfast or an unbalanced breakfast, or having no breakfast at all. More often than not, I come across people who tend to skip breakfast, thinking, especially in January, that by cutting out a meal, which normally is breakfast, that you're actually doing your body good, and that sometimes it defeats the purpose, because by the time nighttime comes around, your resolve is a little less, the willpower is a little less, and you will have that kind of craving, especially in the early days of January, still for that sugar and salt. So to minimise the cravings, I would suggest a whole hearty kind of breakfast. And that means balance. It could be something like your porridge with some seeds and some natural yogurt. It could mean a balanced kind of smoothie. And there's lots of different meals that we work out over the 30 days, which help you to kind of give a slow release energy to your system for the day and get you to have more balanced kind of sugar levels. The next tip, I suppose, would be to reduce the alcohol and the caffeine. That goes without saying. For a lot of us, I know, dry January is always popular, and more than dry November. But again, to really give yourself a kickstart in January for the year ahead, it's always beneficial to try and go alcohol free as much as possible. Caffeine can be sometimes difficult, including myself. I love my cup in the morning, but I generally stick to 1 cup, and I either use a plant-based milk or I have a black. And again, my always tip is when people are kind of coming down off coffees, it's all relative. So if you're used to having 4 coffees in a day, week 1 you come to 3, week 2 you come to 2, week 1 you go to 1. Anyone who works with me know I don't do things drastically, because I think it ultimately comes back to bite you in the backside. So, and again, you go back at something worse than ever. It's all about slowly filtering it out. The other thing would be, what else do we have here? So your dairy, your wheat, and your refined sugars. That goes without saying in a program like this, which is based on whole foods, that you're gradually trying to filter them out of the body, purge the body of just those chemicals that have kind of built up maybe, and it could be built up for a couple of months, or it could be just from that kind of Christmas season as well. gradually you'll find if you stick to this for a few weeks that the natural foods will taste sweeter, they will have the taste back. And sometimes if you haven't had things like especially tomato ketchup or any of those sauces or anything from a packet or a jar, if you go without them for a long period of time and then you suddenly have them reintroduced in a meal, you will find them very extremely salty or extremely sweet. And that will be a good test for you at some point in the future, that if you stick to a program for a couple of weeks, you will find the proof is there, because you'll know by your taste buds, chemical sugars or sodium or carbohydrates will just taste super, the taste will be more heightened. I hope that makes sense for you. So that's just a little bit about taste buds and in relation to cravings and munchies for you today. Have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon on our next question.